Hello there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom, but you can call me Pajama Grandma. In case we haven't met yet, go ahead and put hashtag pajama in the comments below so that I know we haven't met yet. I love meeting new people. People are what makes the world go round, in case you didn't know that. Today is day 161 of the Daily Scare Share. I'm doing one thing a day that scares me because I was living in a huge rut at the beginning of this year, and I knew I needed to get out of it. And actually, I didn't even know it. I guess I knew, but my daughter pointed out to me that I might want to do this little book that she found on my bookshelf. And she was absolutely right. I had, in the previous year and a half, probably the previous year, I had made massive changes in my life and gotten into some really boring routines, super boring routines. And she identified and noticed that that was going on with me and found a really amazing way to point it out to me. Isn't it funny how when people find a way to show us what we already know about ourselves, how quickly and easily it is to act upon it? So I started doing this Do One Thing a Day That Scares You workbook. It's a little journal type workbook. And I bought it in 2014 and didn't do it. I bought it for a friend of mine and I as we started a new business. And we got busy. You know how you get busy, especially when you're starting a new business or a new endeavor, and you just let certain things go. You just don't have enough time in every day to do everything. So we set priorities, and this was something that just wasn't a priority. And I bought it for us so that we would just not be afraid of putting ourselves out there in a particular business. But we stopped doing it, and this time I wanted to make sure I didn't stop doing it. So I committed to myself that I would do it every day and write in it, which I'm doing. And then about a day or so into it, I thought, okay, I am really scared to do Facebook Lives. So I'm going to use this as my way of getting over doing Facebook Lives, my fear of that. And I guess I've done 160, this is 161, and I've done them for other things now. So I don't think I'm afraid to do them anymore. You know, do I still stink at them? Yeah. Will I continue to? Probably for a while, until I learn my voice and I understand what it is that I'm here to share with everybody else, the reason for doing Facebook Lives in the first place. So today is a blank line day. We've got 2 blank line days coming up. They always put them in 2s in this book. I guess so the first one you're afraid of, and by the second one you're like, oh, I figured it out, I can do this. So today, being Father's Day, in honor of fathers, I went to a book that my grandfather gave me, or I guess I got it when he passed away. And he actually used to buy, he had tens of thousands of books when he died. And he used to write his name, I don't know if you can see that, but he wrote his signature, the date, and what he paid for this book. He bought this book on June 1st, 1967 for $1.20. He paid $1.20 for the book. And the book is 5,000 Quotations for All Occasions, edited by Lewis C. Henry. It's a Doubleday book. He belonged to lots of book clubs. He was an avid reader. He read more than anyone I've ever met. He had, I think, an 80-some thousand book library in his basement when he passed away. Amazing, amazing man. So a couple of the books that I got when he passed away were books about quotations because I thought they were a great way to capture wisdom of the ages. And since he was the wisest person I knew at the time, I wanted to capture some of that and keep that with me. So I have these 2 amazing books of quotes and a couple other really fun old Norwegian books that he had that are in Norwegian, which I don't understand, but someday I hope to go to Norway and maybe learn a little Norwegian. I know a little German, but not much, no Norwegian, none. I don't, Ufta is the extent of my Norwegian. And maybe skål. I don't know if skål is a Norwegian term or not. It's a drinking cheer, like cheers, but skål. So what have we got today? What did I come up with today? All it says is today's fear was blank. And I grabbed a quote out of the Father's Day book, and it says, and the reason I bought this is the reason I picked this one is it reminds me of how my sisters and I treated my dad growing up, sort of. It says, a father is a banker provided by nature. It's a French proverb. And my poor dad, I miss him so much. He passed away a few years ago. And actually, here's a picture. Here's a picture of my dad. Not my favorite picture of him, but it's the one I keep as a bookmark in my Do One Thing a Day That Scares You book, because my father was one of those people that always encouraged me to do anything that my heart desired. And he taught me that there's no such thing as can't. And he taught us, girls and my mom, that hugs aren't any good if you keep them. And he just led by example. He was an incredible leader, an incredible father, an incredible husband, just an incredible all-around man. And I miss him every day. But when we were girls growing up, we did treat him like a banker. And I think that stress took a toll on his life that we didn't even realize at the time. I think that happens a lot of the time. We don't even realize at the time that we're putting stress on people that is unnecessary, but we don't even know we're doing it. Do you ever do that to yourself? Hello? Yes, we do that to ourselves the most, the absolute positive most. So what I wrote down for this was, the first thing I wrote down was not sharing and not giving to enough people in ways that I'm capable of. Playing small. I've spent the vast majority of my life up until this point playing really, really small. You know, making an impact for my family, surely, and for a few people around my life, and for the businesses I worked for, or the businesses I owned, and the people that touched and impacted, and the companies I worked for. But that was all, if I think about the big picture and the kind of impact and how I could be showing up in the world and making the world a better place, I've played like not even a grain of sand big. And that makes me sad, because I know that each of us are capable, and me included, of so much more. And so my fear today, or my fear was being bigger, showing up in the world as who I really am, being me. That has been probably my biggest fear all along. And by being me, thinking and believing that me is not good enough. Who I am, as I am, showing up in the world is not good enough. And I think that that's a very common fear that many, many people have. I don't think that I'm alone in that fear. I think that people that have overcome that doubt and fear and worry about themselves and being good enough and being able to just show up as who they are fearless and unstoppable. And I admire them so much. So let's continue to work on that. Let's continue to know that whoever we are is awesome. Whatever we have to offer the world needs. So we need to step up and share that and be ourselves with the world. So I'm going to do more of that today, and I encourage you to do the same. That's today's Daily Scare Share. Hug your fathers, hug your husbands, hug your brothers, whether they're fathers or not. Show them love, and I will see you tomorrow with another Daily Scare Share. Pajama Grandma out. Bye.